everybody. Welcome back to the Black and Healthy Podcast. My name is Jasmine Gillum. I am your host, the owner and founder of Black and Healthy. And today we have another wonderful episode and a lovely guest, which I will introduce in one moment. But before we do so, I would love to invite you to, of course, subscribe to the Black and Healthy Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure that you connect with us on our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook. And if you have a community event coming up or a private event, either one, or you are a business or organization that would like to have anything that you have coming up this new season visible, make sure that you check out the community directory and the community calendar that Black and Healthy has created. This is a platform to make anything that you have going on more visible, and we would love to connect with you. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. And today we have the lovely Coach Liz.
Hey, everybody.
Okay.
Hey.
And before we get into the topic, one thing I will say, so you have an idea of what we're talking about, per my last email.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think a few of y'all will be able to relate to that. Right? Mm-hmm. We've been in those situations.
Yeah.
And so we have Coach Liz to kind of get into that. But before we have her introduce herself, hey, make sure that you get you a good snack, get you a nice beverage,
yes,
right?
Yes. Tea, if you like.
Right, because I love me some herbal tea.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, get a notebook, get a pen, get your iPad, get your phone, and take some notes while we are chatting up. If you got to pause this, you get overwhelmed, or you need to reflect on what we were talking about, do that. This is for you. And make sure that you share it with your people as well.
Yes.
So anyway, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Wonderful. Well, Jasmine, thank you again just for having me. I am honored to be here with you. Just so excited about the work that you're doing. So thank you for creating this space. So, hey, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Giss. I also go by Coach Liz, and I am a career coach and leadership strategist, also CEO and president of Grow Leaders Coaching and Consulting. This is where I work primarily with high achievers, high performing professionals who tend to overfunction in their role and in their success and careers. And what I help them do is shift from overfunctioning to strategic alignment, ensuring that they have success without struggle. And so I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a lot, and also so much that we relate to. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that can be across the board for anybody, but for women in particular, for Black women, we know this all too well. And we want you to know that though you may not know it's too well, we are rooting for you. We are standing for you. When you have to get up every day to walk into those doors with people you may like and people you may not like.
That's right.
Right? And I will say this now, us as women and us as Black women especially, we are overachievers. And I don't even want to say overachievers. I want to say we just hold a very high standard for everybody else. Black women are the most educated group of individuals in this country, and most of y'all are overqualified for a lot of these positions. But with that being said, we appreciate you so much on you not only showing up as yourself, but that you are also showing up and you are representing others to go after you, and making a possible way for those to be able to walk into those doors as well, right? And I think sometimes that's not acknowledged.
Exactly.
To the extent, because we just know how to work. We just know how to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's also very, very, very important to take care of yourself as well. Because at the end of the day, oftentimes Child, these businesses, if something happened to you tomorrow, they looking for somebody the next day, right? Let's be honest, right?
Here's the thing. Even with you leaning into that, one of the main things that I focus on with women, it's women specifically, is letting them know that you can succeed without struggle. A lot of times, we as women, especially Black women, we want to overfunction. We want to have all the credentials, check all the boxes, do all the things. We're also trying to balance family and our careers,
Right.
which is exceptionally hard. Because in this day and age where we are, there's a lot of people of saying, hey, entrepreneurship is the way. But for those where entrepreneurship is not their path, that means you have to work a 9 to 5.
That's right.
And you still have to show up for your family. So how do you do that without struggle?
Yeah.
There's going to be some type of sacrifice somewhere, but you have to know that, okay, I'm able to show up over here, and it's okay if I don't show up at 100%. If 80% is what I'm able to give here, that's okay. And I have to understand that I can't give everything to a company, to a corporate organization, and then come home and give my family nothing.
Right.
And then I can't give everything to my family and show up and be ineffective in my role.
Right.
I've got to find a balance. I've got to find a strategy. So a lot of the work that I help women do is find that happy medium. So when I say, you might hear the term work-life balance.
Yes.
Doesn't exist. Let me just go ahead and just pop that balloon right there. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Work-life integration. How can I integrate my responsibilities as a professional with my responsibilities as a wife, a mother, a caregiver? How can I bring that into the fold? That's what we work through. We work through how you succeed without burnout, without struggle, without guilt, without losing yourself in the process. It's very simple.
Yeah, and let me tell you, as a single woman with no kids, no man, no husband,
Come on.
the ones that are the opposite of me, that are you have a partner, you have kids, you are married. Shout out to y'all, because sometimes I have my moments and I'm like, can you imagine breaking down and crying and then in the back seat or at home your child is like, I'm hungry. And you're like, oh.
They don't care. They will interrupt your breakdown. You hear me?
Right.
Can you open this to me? I'm like on the floor here. Can you wait?
Exactly. And they want to be all in your skin. And I can speak to that because even at my big age, I'm still in my mama's space.
See?
Like she still feel like I don't give her space sometimes. Now, sometimes I like to laugh about it because I'm like, I feel like this is my role as the baby of the family, right? And so I get a kick out of it. But I also love now to see her as a retired woman.
Yeah.
Versus the woman who could not stop working.
Yeah.
And I mean morning to night. And when I say night, I mean 11 p.m. at night that my mom used to work.
I know nothing about that.
And, growing up and seeing that work ethic, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mama be getting it. My mama's going to Union. My mama is going throughout Spartanburg. And she's getting it done. She's doing the work. But as I got older and I, learned my own work ethic and things like that, I got really frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Mom, like your job, you shouldn't continue to be working at these hours when you've literally given your whole entire day to these people.
Yeah. It's a different mindset, though. Like, when you look at the different generations, like, there's a little bit of a gap between us. Not much, because, I'm still that girl.
Right.
But there is a difference in just how we work. Whereas you all may have advocated a little bit more for your boundaries. My generation, we're still learning that. Yeah. We were still learning, like, oh, okay, you mean I don't have to put in all of these hours? What do you mean? Now, I mean, let's even get into the whole remote work structure. We're working from home, which means now we've invited work into our homes, which means it's easy for me to still be visible and present for my family, But guess what? My laptop's still toting around with me. So am I really disconnected from work? I'm
Right.
not. So there's still this pressure to still show up, even while showing up as a full-time mom, as
Yeah.
a full-time wife or caregiver or sister or whomever. So I think we never really escape that reality. When we go into so many levels of just like social media will make us think that we can do all the things.
Right.
One, we see a 15-second highlight reel of somebody's get ready with me.
Yes.
And we're like, you had time to do that?
Right.
And like, I'm fighting for my life in the morning, like trying to get it together, get my little one out the door. But you tend to feel like you're not measuring up. So there's this constant state of comparison. I always tell people, I tell my clients that comparison is the thief of joy.
That's right.
If you're always looking over your shoulder, you'll never be able to appreciate your journey. But I want to back up and just share with you how I even got into understanding how important this work is.
Yeah.
So, sharing a little bit about my journey, and trigger warning. So, I am a survivor of domestic violence, which means that I was in a situation where my voice was not heard. I didn't know how to advocate for myself. I learned how to fit in, be quiet. I learned how to just, I dealt with what I call anticipatory people pleasing. That means I knew how to keep myself out of trouble by doing what was expected of me. I took that, I had all of that, and when I share with you that it was by the grace of God that I got out of that situation, I tell everyone that I tell this story to that He literally came in like SWAT and came and got me. That's the only reason I'm sitting here with you today, is because He came in and said, nope, I've got more for you. I want to relocate you. He relocated me. Now I'm here, and my life has just accelerated in a way that I can't even explain it. I'm sharing that with you to share the contrast of that trauma. So I had that trauma from being in that domestic violence relationship, but guess what I did? I got out of the domestic violence relationship and brought it into my professional working space, which means that now I'm not in that, but that mindset is still there.
Yeah.
So I'm in the corporate space. I'm not advocating for myself. I'm learning how to have anticipatory people pleasing, which means whatever you ask me to do, I'm going to do it so that I don't get fired or so that I'm not rejected from this position. So a lot of women that I work with, they carry the trauma, and it may not be domestic violence. It may be something else that they've dealt with. Maybe they were rejected by a parent. Maybe they were abandoned as a child, whatever it is. That stuff folds into how you do your work.
Yeah.
And so if we really take a moment to just think about how you respond, the anxiety that comes with work, the pressure that comes with performing and feeling like you have to be this superstar, we pick that up from somewhere.
Yep.
And so I realized that that's where I picked that up from. So going into my corporate space, even after God got me out of that, I took those behaviors in, but I ran right into another situation where I experienced like corporate bullying. So now I've got professionals who don't look like what I just came out of, but they look like somebody that should be pouring into me. But now you're bullying me. But I'm like, this is normal because this is what I've known. So of course this must be a normal course of action. So went through bullying, corporate bullying, discrimination, harassment, all the things you would think that I could experience.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Jasmine, at the hands of people who look like us. So you would think that that would be a safe space. I'm like, you know my struggle. You know what it is to be a Black woman. You know what it is to have the world already kind of stacked against you, and you're making it harder for me.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
But I realized that. I said, hey, if this is what I'm going to experience, I'm going to learn every lesson from this, and I'm going to become an advocate.
Right.
I'm going to learn all of the competencies, all the skills so that I can teach somebody else and teach them that you don't have to go through what I went through.
Right.
There's a way for you to advocate. There's a way for you to succeed without burnout. You don't have to take the path that I did. I took these scars so you don't have to. And that's the whole purpose, if we talk about nothing else today, that is the core function of my work.
Yeah. And I love that because, as you mentioned, like, taking stuff that you've learned from your past and your life and bringing that into the work, I think sometimes what is not spoken of is that all of us, different,
Yeah.
variations of us black women, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're bringing that in what they call crabs in a barrel type thing.
Breaks my
And
heart.
it's like I'm fighting for my life in here too, and I'm willing to step on anybody who gets in the way of that, essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I too have experienced that a little bit of being misunderstood and putting me in such a light
Yeah.
by another black woman as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. It's
And it
tough.
and it brought me to tears. I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me to tears because it was like, out of all people, I thought you would have understood
Mm-hmm.
where I was coming from
Mm-hmm.
in this position, but instead you did it behind my back.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, you know what I'm saying, it was never addressed. I wasn't in a position to address it with that individual at the time.
Yeah.
And it definitely happens, unfortunately, because I will say this too, and I believe that because there's not many of us in these work environments, you're literally just holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to keep your job, right? But you're also bringing in that other stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, when I see my people, I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I'm
My people.
I'm happy to see you.
My people.
Welcome. Welcome.
Because I know if we're in a meeting together, I'm going to be like,
we can have a whole conversation.
a whole conversation.
Without one word being spoken.
Exactly. And then afterwards, don't let us meet afterwards, because we're really going to get into it.
Yeah, it'll be chat.
Exactly. And that's all you have to say.
Yep.
And I love when we're able to have that bond within the workspace.
Yes.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
When you can share that with somebody, I will say. But again, back to other people in our workspace, right?
Yeah.
And having to maneuver through that. What would you say are that you have seen, like top 3 things that you have seen that women have been dealing with in the last year or so?
Yeah. One, outside of the normal, let's break this down. Let's do women in general.
Okay.
Then let's break it down specifically to black women, if that's okay.
Okay.
So women in general, of course, there's pay inequities. We're not getting paid what our counterparts are getting paid. We're having to fight and advocate and almost prove and defend our skills. That right there alone is something that we've been fighting for the longest, and it's still, unfortunately, something we're dealing with.
Yeah.
We're also balancing a lot of times the family and the maternity side of us. So when we're the ones that has the children, typically it's like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the child care situation.
Yeah.
We'll figure out if school's closed and all those things. It really does fall on us if we're just being honest about it. On top of that, we're also working through emotions and different personalities and things of just, women who, you just met me and you don't like me.
Right.
And it's like, I don't even know you.
Exactly.
We didn't even have a moment to get to know you, but you think I'm taking something from you.
Right.
So you automatically assume that I'm competition instead of part of your team and collaboration. Women in general. When we dial it down even further to black women, we deal with, of course, microaggressions in the office. We deal with comments that are not okay. We deal with stereotypes and if we express ourselves in a certain way, how we fit into this category. So we have to master the tone, which is what I tell my clients, and it's something that I'm still doing because, y'all, I'm just a thug out here in the corporate environment.
Okay.
I just want y'all to understand. I'm really trying. But I've mastered the tone.
Yes.
Because that, per my last email, those type of communications will say, wait a minute, what we're not going to do today.
Exactly.
This is what we're not going to do. But so we have to make sure that we reread emails before we send. We have to make sure that how we show up, we're able to articulate ourselves. So as black women especially, you've heard this and it's such a derogatory term that it breaks my heart, angry black woman. And angry black women usually means that someone got to a point where they were just frustrated and they had enough and they felt wrong or they felt slighted or whatever it is. And for whatever reason, they took a stance. And however that stance was perceived in that moment, you might be deemed the angry black woman.
Yeah.
However, you may have some of our counterparts that's not the case. They're spirited, passionate. And so there's a difference in how we show up. I mean, even just taking, this is not anything new. I mean, taking a day off to get your hair done, to get, just a different style, and you come back and you're like the science exhibit.
Right.
Like, come on, really no one else has to deal with that but us. So that also determines on how we show up. Some people may say that they engage in code switching, which I just don't believe in. I believe there is a time and a place for things. However, I don't believe that you should completely abandon who you are.
Right.
I do believe that there are certain levels and certain seats and certain tables where you do have to adjust your vernacular. I do believe so. But to just go in and completely abandon who you are, I mean, what God has used to make you great breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And I feel that sometimes we as Black women, we do have to do that. We've got to figure out where our seat is.
Right.
And how to leverage that seat in the corporate space.
Yeah. And let me tell you something about me. When it comes to code switching, I can be like, hey, how you doing? Which is like, that is me.
Yeah,
right?
it's me.
But then I get to a point and I be like, okay, look. And I'm straight to it. And I think I've been in environments where there's a cultural difference, right?
Yeah.
Because for me and how I've been raised, like, we are very, like, matter-of-factly type people.
Yeah.
It's not I think this is what it is. It's, no, this is what it is. And if you don't know, do you know or do you not know? Which one is it, right? And so when you bring that into a work environment where you have people that are more, oh, well, I think, do you think, this is what this is? It's no.
No, baby, what do you think?
Right. You know what I mean? And so I think I have experienced those moments where it's intimidating for people, right?
Yeah.
Not only is it intimidating because, one, I don't have no problem speaking up in a meeting, right? But then, two, I'm confident in what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And with that being said, it's kind of like, well, who does she think she is? And
Yeah.
why does she think she know this? And I promise you, I've been in so many meetings where I know what I'm saying is clear. And sometimes I will say, like, I apologize. I'm thinking through this right now, but this is what I'm thinking. And I can't tell you how many times someone has made me feel like I'm speaking another language.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I'm like, I know this is what I said, but what you just said back to me, I'm like, or they'll be like, I don't understand what you're saying.
But here's the thing. It's what you do in those moments. You're
Yeah.
I don't care what career you're in, and I know we're like leaning into the corporate space, but when you're in those settings, it's how you deal with that resistance to
Right.
your speech, your idea, your
Right.
suggestion, how you deal with it. One, here's what I always tell people: research, research, research. Do all your research, have your competencies in place to where you're not just a problem dropper,
Right.
but you're a problem solver.
Yes.
So I'm not just sitting here picking out everything that's wrong, but I'm asking, questions to make you think about this process. I'm also changing how I'm presenting it to you. I may say, have you considered? Instead of, here's what we need to do. You need to draw them in. And I always say, draw them in with honey. Just draw them in a little bit.
like that.
Have you considered? Have you considered? The Bible teaches us that a soft answer turns away wrath, right? So when you draw them in that way, then it's like, okay, I'm not completely shutting down what you have to say, but I'm adding my insight and I'm getting you to understand that I'm a credible source for solutions. So I'm building. I tell people all the time that the lost skill in career progression or even success anywhere is relationship building. If you're not good at building relationships, then I'm not sure what you're going to do, because all the work that you have to do revolves around people.
Yeah.
If you're terrible with people, I'm not sure what you're going to do on this earth. We are called to people.
Yeah.
So because of that, we have to learn how to be in relationship with them. Now, you have some difficult people
Very
that I
much.
call sandpaper people. They just rub you the wrong way.
Yeah.
But if you would look, after a while, they're smoothing you out. They're smoothing out your response, your relational intelligence, your emotional intelligence, because you're learning. You're not going to trigger me. When you walk in a room, you're not going to shift my energy. I'm going to influence yours.
I like that.
So that's what you learn how to do. But when you're in these meetings and these sessions and people are feeling like no one's listening to me, that's an internal narrative that you're telling yourself. you need to verify if it's true. And you need to weigh it against past traumas that you've had. Where in your life where your voice was not appreciated or heard? And are you bringing that trauma into your workplace? Probably so. Because someone probably didn't agree, but they never said they weren't interested in what you had to say. And if they did, then you have to stay the course and influence them and say, no, you're going to hear what I have to say.
That's good. That's real good. Because one thing I'm going to do is talk.
You going to hear this.
You didn't hear me at the first meeting?
You going to hear this.
Oh, but you know, at our last meeting, I said this. And I do like that about myself. I will say. Sometimes my delivery may not be the best, right? But I meant what I said.
Listen.
Though, right?
I meant what I said.
I meant what I said, and I said what I said. And I think that's something for me personally that I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, well, how many times do I have to refine this? You know what I mean? It comes to a point where it's like, as you mentioned, reading over an email multiple times, right? Oof. And so it's just like in those positions, it's pretty much like, are you accepting me for me or not in this work environment? Is this work environment working for me? Yeah. Because it comes to a point then where I have personally experienced where the trust was decreasing more and more over time, right? The resentment was building over time. And at some moments, I got to a point where, you know, this is just business. You know what I mean? Like, my personality at this rate, you don't even fully deserve it. So therefore, you ask me a question, I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. If you really sit and unpack that, it means you've gone into survival mode.
Yes.
And survival mode is not sustainable. No. And the reason why is because you're exerting additional energy surviving. And you're on, like, guard. So which means someone, good morning. What you mean good morning? It was just good morning. It was just good morning. But you are probably overly critical of others and yourself because you're in that space of not feeling safe. Not to say that it's not warranted, because I guarantee you there was something that removed your psychological safety from that place. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that as a employee or whomever that you got to stay in that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying go ahead and kind of navigate through that and find your next opportunity. Because we spend too much time at work to be miserable.
That's right.
Okay?
Too much.
We spend too much time sitting in, if we're in a cubicle and we don't like the person that's on the cubicle on the side of us, that's too much time. That I'm sharing too much space with somebody that I don't enjoy. That's right. And so I'm empowered to fix that. So you need to fix that. Here's what I also encourage people to do. If your environment is not aligning in the way you want it to, see if you can influence it. What can you influence? What can you change? What can you eliminate? If you can't influence it and you have no power to change it, then you've got to eliminate it by pulling yourself out of it. And I mean, change is fine. Nobody says you got to stay at a position or a company 5 to 7 years miserable. Where's the employee handbook on that?
Because Jasmine Gillum ain't gonna do it.
Because we're not gonna do it.
No, ma'am.
No, especially if I'm commuting somewhere. You want me to commute to drama? You want me to drive to drama?
Right, and then you start to calculate that. Because you're like, not only am I having to get up, right? Then y'all want me to look a certain way, right? I'm feeling some type of way. Now you want me to drive. You want me to commute to this place of work that I'm not happy with. And then I have to deal with y'all for however many hours that you're there.
And drive home in silence, trying to figure out what happened to your day.
Exactly.
No.
And that just accumulates over time.
No. But the way to fix that, this is what I try to tell people all the time, is that while you may want to get them together and you want to collect them, the best way you can do is continue to skill stack. Grow your skill. Contribute your value to that organization. And if you're not able to contribute to that organization with your value, find an organization that you can do so with. And then also stretch your competency. no one can sit here and tell you that you can't apply for this position or do this if you've got the skills to match. So the way that you would get out and break out of jail free, get that break out of jail free card is by growing your competency, growing your skill, continuing to say, okay, I'm developing not just for this position, but for my next one.
Yep.
And I always say some people will, may get me for this, but don't be so quick to say, well, I don't want to deal with this job. I don't like this job. I'm going into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship?
Baby.
Uh-huh.
Hey!
It is not for somebody who is just frustrated at their job.
It is not.
You need to be skilled. Especially if you want to charge people for something, you need to have a strategy and a solution.
Yes, ma'am.
Not just a grand announcement that you registered an LLC. Can we help and solve some problems out here? So that was my little thing. I'm back now. I told y'all, I'm just a thug out here. Let us pray. Let us pray.
Well, look, and I love that you mentioned that, because the thing about it, a few things. I want to go back to the influence part.
Yeah.
And what I have seen that I love about certain influences, right? There are certain people that I know, and this is like the surface level of stuff, but it can make a difference, right? Somebody that shows up and they are well dressed to the nine, like they are dressed for themselves, and they're not, you know what I'm saying, they're expressing themselves. It wakes people up in a work environment. It really does.
It's a beautiful thing.
Somehow, some way, and they're like, oh my God, I love that. I love that. And then they start to experiment with their own style, right? Because let's think about it. There are certain individuals, like, work is all they know. Like, that is their life. They go home, yes, they may have a family, but they don't like it. And work is where they feel the most accomplished, where they are winning the most. And you can tell by those certain people, right?
Yeah.
But then you have those individuals that they love what they do, but because that's all that they know, right, they haven't really taken the time to go into those other pockets, right, of their life. But when they see somebody who else is doing it, right, it's like, that's really nice. This person's in proximity to me, and I can have a conversation with them to maybe jazz this up for me.
Yeah.
And that then can start transferring into other places of their lives, meaning like hobbies, for example.
Yes.
And trying those things up. And I've seen it where, like, it'll help a person's personality and how they show up in the workspace,
Yes,
right?
it does.
And that's just a simple thing. Now, I'm not saying, you have to get the finest top of the line.
don't.
I'm not saying that. But sometimes showing up, you know what I'm saying, where you feel your best can help you in the time that you are there and you trying to figure out your way out. Right? Because I've been in both positions. I've been in a position where, child, I'm showing up to work later and later and later. For the simple fact I don't want to be there. Not only that, I don't even care about what I'm wearing, really. Like, obviously, I'm not coming up in pajama pants. I'm not saying that. But how I know I can step and when I'm not stepping, like, they're different.
Yeah.
And so that is something I also have just seen, just someone being considerate of their team.
Yeah.
Right? It makes a world of a difference when you know someone is going through something.
Yeah.
And you literally are like, do what you need to do for you. We will handle it. We'll take care. And just that alone makes me want to work harder for somebody.
Yeah, you mentioned about like dressing up and just how you show up. That's a major thing.
Yeah.
I know this is cliche and they say you dress for the role you want.
Yes.
Or you dress for where you want to go. You never know where you're going to run into someone.
That's right.
You never know, like, this room, this meeting may be the meeting that completely changes the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
And that was the one day that you chose not to have it together.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm not saying that if you're going through something and life is life and you like, I'm doing good to get here. Get here.
That part.
That's what we celebrate. But I'm saying if you got a little extra gas in the tank and you like, you know what, I can take a little extra time to put myself together this morning, do that.
Yeah.
One, because you're presenting to the world. Now, let's even take it a step farther. we are kingdom ambassadors.
That's right.
And kingdom representatives, which means we represent our king, which means we are royalty in the earth. So we need to walk and move as such, which means I can't show up any old kind of way.
Right.
I can't run my business any old kind of way. I
Right.
can't do my position any old kind of way because I've got a bigger boss to report to.
That's right.
Do everything as unto the Lord, which means how I show up, how I speak, how I care for people, how I run my business, how I do my job, how I care for my kids and my husband. Do everything as unto the Lord.
That's right.
If we take that approach, we will have a different mindset of how we show up and how we do things. And then if we say, okay, I got a problem with leadership. Leadership doesn't listen to us. Leadership is not, for the people. It's not doing these things. Okay, how are you expecting to get change through leadership? It's probably going to come through you.
Yep.
Which means that you have to start out having the conversations, and you can't be afraid to talk to the leaders.
That's right.
Early in my career, I just started taking on projects that nobody wanted. And did I have the capacity? No, ma'am. But I started taking on projects and fixing things, and guess what that did? That put me in the room with leadership. And they started listening. I'm like, have you considered X, Y, and Z? And my career started taking off. One, because I started having the conversations that I wanted them to have on my behalf. So I started saying, hey, have you considered this? I would love to help out with this. I would love to do these different things. And the opportunities came. So when the opportunities came for me, it gave me an opportunity to reach back for others.
Yeah.
And part of it is, I don't think we understand that what we do today creates an opportunity for somebody tomorrow.
Right.
So if we're wasting today, we're delaying someone else's tomorrow. Because we're like, you know what? I'm going to be disgruntled. I'm going to let them know that I'm not pleased. But what you doing about it? Because what are we doing?
Right. So
That's
what do you
my
wanna
favorite
do?
question. What are we doing?
Exactly.
So I'm really, like I said, I have low tolerance for wasted opportunities.
Yeah.
I have low tolerance for just wasted momentum, because we were all called and created to do something great.
Yeah.
The problem is that we're waiting for this perfect moment.
And
We're waiting
and
for
it don't happen.
confidence to be on 10. We're waiting on just for this audible voice of God to say, go now.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
It doesn't.
It might happen for some, but for others, we just out here trying to figure it out. We
Right.
we fighting for our lives out here in our calling. But we trying to walk in it,
Yep.
and we doing what we have to do. So for those that have, learned a skill or did something, reach back, get somebody.
Yeah.
That's just like this moment that you're creating. You're bringing space, you're creating space for people to be able to say, here's what I do. That's not, I'm sure you didn't, say, hey, you know what? I am fearless in this. I'm sure you were like, who, me? You want me to do this?
When I tell you this, ain't nothing but God.
See.
Because I look back at times, I have my moments where I come out of myself in some way, shape, or form. And I'm like, what? I did that?
Yes.
And then I'm like,
And
that ain't
did.
nothing but God.
And did.
Because he literally, it's a certain, just a little light of passion, of fire that he'll just be like, boop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can say to you too, I mean, as far as remembering, when you're in a work environment, right? Sometimes you have to have those conversations with God, like, God, I know you got me here for a reason.
Listen.
There is a reason, God, and I'm trying to be patient, and I'm trying to learn what it is you want me to learn. But where are we on the agenda?
Listen, I have had those moments, and I'm like, Lord, please send the bail money, because I'm like, I'm about 2 minutes from flipping out. 2 minutes from flipping out. And he's like, bring it down.
Right.
Bring it down. I have more work for you to do.
Right.
And then, I mean, there have been times when I have been in organization, I'm like, I'm quitting today. At the end of this, I'm quitting today. And then I'm like, I'm back tomorrow. I'm back. And then it's like, I done been here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And it's like, okay, but change is happening.
Yes.
And he's doing something through you. And even when I look back over just my career, he's put me in so many rooms I'm like, this has to be you. I'm like, I don't
Truly.
even have enough credentials for these people to listen to me.
Truly.
But I'm like, they are listening. They're taking my counsel. I'm helping them shift their entire organization. And I'm like, this is God.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to be a God thing. And I'm like, okay, because it's God, I'm going to stick it out.
Yeah. Now I will speak to this because I've been on the opposite end where you're like, I've been here 2 years, I've been here 3 years, honey. One thing I know how to do is quiet quit. I know how to do
Not
it.
quiet quit.
When my spirit, look, I'm gonna tell you, the moment will come, and I see the signs. I know the signs, right?
Ooh, quiet quit.
And I just know, like, I'm not going to be here for this much longer.
Yes.
I have been at a job on day one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding you. I have been
You're
at a job
still
on
in
day
orientation.
one. Yeah, I've been at a job at day one. I'm like, I meant for more. And I'm not going to be here that much longer. Like, and sure enough, it happens.
But in that, let me ask you the question. What made you take the job if you knew that was kind of not a place that you knew you were supposed to be at?
So, no, it was a place I was supposed to be in because what I wanted to do. So, to give background, when I went into school, the later part of school, let me start there. I wanted to be an event planner
Okay.
and an interior designer.
Okay.
And so this company was an event planning and rental company.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the things, I was getting the experience, right?
Okay. Understood.
So that I knew, like, I was supposed to be there, and I got, like, more graphic design experience as well working there. So got the experience I needed. Learned a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
But again, the people I was working for, the environment, the things they wanted me to do, some of the things are just mundane. And it's just like, God, okay. You know, so that's what I mean by, like,
Okay, you knew.
I knew, yeah. Like, I don't know, for certain people, like, that entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah.
you're looking so far ahead oftentimes that sometimes it's hard for you to be present.
Yeah.
Because your mind is just and you see all these things, but you're like, but God, can we just jump to that? Can we get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing though, with that, I love that you brought that up because sometimes God shows us a dream.
Yes, he does.
And it's like, okay, you showed me this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to help so many people. But he gave you just that part.
Right.
He didn't give you kind of this beginning stage of it.
Right.
He showed you the end of it, or at least the middle, because we won't know the end of it.
Yes.
He'll show you the middle of it. And you're like, okay, so you're going to give me like another instruction? Like, do I need to just wait for an angel to show up? Like, what you going to do? And he's like, no.
You going to be ready.
And he's not saying anything.
Nothing. Nada.
And here's what I tell people. Go back to what he said. He said that this was going to happen, so do your part to make it happen. Which means that sometimes, even though entrepreneur, I want to own my own time and I want to work for myself and do all these things, sometimes it means funding that entrepreneurial dream with your W-2.
Yep. That's right, and I've done it.
That means you're going to go and you're going to work in excellence on somebody's job.
That's right.
And then you're going to get off that job and then you're going to spend some time working on the dream that God showed you.
That's right.
And then God's going to show you that you've been faithful over the little. So you will be rewarded with much.
Yes.
Right? So which means that you've been faithful in someone else's vineyard. So I'm going to allow your vineyard to grow. And I'm going to allow you to reap the harvest of your work. But some of us want to skip that step.
That's right.
We want to handle the W-2 like it ain't nothing because we got this big dream.
Yes.
But you got this big dream, but you don't have no funding.
That's right.
So we need to do things decent in order. The kingdom has principles that we have to follow.
Yeah.
Which still means doing things decent and in order.
That's right. And with that being said, like you were saying earlier, the people that's like, I just want to be an entrepreneur. Let me tell you something. One thing, being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey. You will learn so much, not only about yourself, but your relationship with God.
Ooh.
Because God is going to be like, you ready? Bet.
You ready?
And as she said, he ain't gonna say a word sometimes, and you like, am I in the right place?
Listen.
Because I'm not seeing the abundance here.
Have you out here building an ark and you don't see not a
You
cloud,
don't see a cloud,
a drop of rain, or anything,
nothing.
but you building that ark?
Yes, but the thing about it is that journey going back to where you gotta start.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I have learned in my journey is that God does not reveal it
Mm-hmm.
2 months from now,
Mm-hmm.
3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be 2 years later.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's something that you don't expect. It can be something just not even related.
Yeah.
And he will reveal, this is why I had you do this.
Yeah.
And it comes full circle because you realize that God was positioning you for something that was very important for this next step in your life for you to take. Because being an entrepreneur, you have to have capacity.
Yes.
And if you don't have that muscle, you have not built that muscle over time. God knows you more than anybody, right?
Yeah.
He knew you before he formed you in your mother's womb. So you have to trust God of knowing, like, God truly knows what's best for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where God wants me to be, whether it's I need to learn how to be still. I need to learn how to be patient with people. I need to learn how to speak to people a certain way. I need to learn how to serve people a better way that does not look like me, who may have a language barrier. I need to learn compassion,
Yeah.
right, to help these individuals. Because you don't know, at some point in time, those individuals will come back around.
Yes, they will.
And they're going to remember you. And they're going to remember, I remember that person because they helped me.
Yeah.
And they may have something that you need to get to the next step
Yeah.
that God positioned them to help you now.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, even in the workplace, you never know who can help position you to be in a room that you have not even walked in.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Be careful how you treat people.
Be careful how you treat people, too. Because those people are going to be like, I actually know somebody who does this.
Yes.
And they're going to mention you.
Yes. Yes. That'll be your reputation.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to something you said about capacity.
Yes.
And sometimes how where we're on this journey of growth and development, we want to do it all. And especially high achievers, we are not without skill.
Right.
We're not without ideas. Ideas come to us easy. It's not like we're like struggling, what should I do? It's like, what should I do now?
Right.
Or today. And so sometimes we don't know how to put down what's in this hand to pick up something with this hand. We want to hold it both. We want to hold them in both hands.
Yeah.
The problem is that a lot of times if we really sit down and get quiet, we understand that we're doing it for a state of proving and not necessarily for purpose.
Yeah.
We're proving that we can do it. We want to somewhere, someone down the line said we couldn't. So we still hear that voice. So we're like, I'm going to just do it all and burn myself out. And it's like, that's not part of your purpose.
Right.
It was in one season, but God has shifted you into something else. But now you can't hear because you're still hearing the voice of proving.
That's right.
So it's always good to sit down and anchor yourself in your why. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? What problem is this going to help me solve in this? Even in the workplace. So if you're doing this and you're working on something, you should always be trying to solve something in the workplace.
Yeah.
So that even if you're just passing through, I tell people, don't build a building where you're supposed to pitch a tent.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're only meant to pass through. And that's it.
That's right.
You come there, you give your value, and you get on, and that's it. But sometimes we're sitting there and we're like, I'm not going to give any value because I'm not here. I'm not happy here. It's like, give your value, but get on.
Exactly.
Go ahead, give your value, and then move on with what you know you're supposed to be doing. But everywhere you go, you should be some type of change agent or trailblazer or something.
right.
That's what you were created to be.
Yeah. And honestly, too, it shows up on how you take care of yourself, too. It truly does. Because if you coming in to work and you look well rested, your desk is organized, people are going to be looking at you like, they care about themselves.
And it may influence the person next to you.
Yes, exactly. In doing so, again, you're adding value to where you are, but you're adding value to you.
Yes.
Because it's not just about what you can do. It's also about who you are, right? Everybody, yes, your skill set is important, but your skill set is only going to take you but so far as well.
It's the whole package.
It's the whole
You
package.
have to be a good person. You have to, and I'm not just talking about a morally good person.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to know how to extend kindness. Kindness is a superpower. Like, I don't think people understand. I am a champion of kindness. It's a superpower because I've seen the return on it. I'm like, just a kind word, a kind act has gone so far than you out here trying to do all of these different things, or, purchase or do all of these different things. I'm like, just be kind.
Yeah.
Just be considerate. Just be compassionate. Just be a decent human.
Right.
Like, in HR, I tell people I am the resource for the humans. I'm like, that is what I am. That's what I do every day. Regardless of what you need, I got you. Am I going to hold you accountable? Yes.
Absolutely.
If you need prayer, am I going to pull you to the side and pray for you? Yes, I am. Am I going to hold your hand when someone's going through like loss or grief or a traumatic change in their life? Absolutely. When I have to sit across you from a termination, are you going to have dignity and respect even in that termination? You absolutely will.
Yeah.
So it has to be an experience. An encounter with you has to be an experience regardless of what you're doing.
Right. And I think this is not talked about, and I don't know if people do this, but I told myself, I was like, if I just don't, corporate world, let's go there. I told myself, if I ever was in a position, right, where I just had an abundance of income,
Okay.
a super abundance of income, covering everything from top to bottom, no issues with extra. I was like, I would still do this, but one of the things that I would do if I didn't have the extra, because I've seen the investment and the importance of it, I would go to therapy just for my workplace. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that ends up being hurt more than other people at your job that you feel like you're taking shots from, right? And when you step away, or you decide to step away from that place, or you decide to stay, you have to learn how to maneuver yourself in that environment, right? Not just be blindsided every single time and you just taking punches from left and right. I think therapy is such a wonderful investment for somebody, but when you can position yourself to really optimize yourself in a place where you're like, okay, this is where I'm going to stay. I'm going to build my skill set. I'm going to build my income or my funds up so that I can do this, that, and the third. Like, position yourself in the best way possible so you can function better.
Yes. Get all you can. Take advantage of all resources that you can. I'm a firm believer of therapy and Jesus.
I know that's right.
Because I think most people, and we can pivot and we can come right on back.
Yeah.
Growing up, you may have been taught to, pray over it.
Right.
And yes, you can. I believe we have the power to decree and declare some things.
That's right.
But sometimes, all things I should say, but sometimes you need someone with a different level of skill set to say, hey, do you know that this is your pattern of thinking? Do you know that you're operating with cognitive distortions? Do you realize that because clutter is around you, that's what's causing, some of these things? So sometimes you do need that person, and that person can be a vessel of God trying to get a message to you. So I'm a firm believer in that. And then even in the corporate space, we do this all the time, Jasmine. We deal with a situation in the workplace, and we're like, you know what, I'm quitting, I'm leaving, I'm doing all of these things, and then we pack up all of that experience and carry it right to the next place. So we never dealt with it, we never healed from it.
Right.
We got post-traumatic stress from the last position, and we're carrying it into the next one. I'm not going to show up, I'm not going to be engaged, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do my job and leave and do all these things. This company didn't even do anything to you.
Yeah.
But we're just carrying it from place to place because we're not processing it. But a lot of times we haven't been taught how.
That's right. And then we've talked about that in an episode before, is a lot of times in our households, there's a lack of accountability. And then there's a lack of like the conversation of, this is how this made me feel. And so if you're somebody that just holds all that in, you're going to do the same thing with work. And not only that, with people that didn't care about you like that, right? They wanted you to get a job done, but now you're carrying additional things that people may have done to you, or just situations that took place that you don't need to carry, because ultimately you want to be in a place, I think, where you can leave work at work.
Yeah.
When you go home, you shouldn't be at home thinking about, you know what, and I should have said this to so
Oh
and so.
my. I know nothing about that.
Because I can't tell you how many times when I'm in the shower, showering is very
Yes.
meditative for me.
Therapeutic.
I think I affirm myself. I say affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm creative. I have creative thoughts come
Yeah.
in for me.
Yeah.
And when I have
Mm-hmm.
these little thoughts start
Mm-hmm.
sneaking into my mind about a person from work that got on my last nerve,
Yeah.
I have a problem now.
Yes.
If you are showing up in my dreams, if I'm waking up out of like terror because I'm afraid this happened at work, this is not a good sign.
Yeah,
know?
a lot of times though we haven't learned the words to say to make our points valid and to make our points land well.
Yes.
So a lot of times because we might be in our emotions and we haven't learned how to regulate ourselves emotionally to say, wait a minute, let me pause before I respond. Sometimes you're in the moment and you don't have that moment to pause, but you can always give yourself that moment. You can always say, you know what, hang on one second. And then you give yourself that moment to process.
That's
I always say I forget where I heard this from, but there's 3 different talks. The one we prepare to have, the one we actually have, and then the one we wish we would have had. And that's the same thing with arguments, where it's like, when I see her or when I see him, I'm going to say X, Y, and Z. And here's what I actually said when I saw him or her.
Right.
But then later on during that shower time, now you know I should have said X, Y, and Z, because I would have killed him with that one. So we have to learn how to say things well and say things better.
Yeah.
Here's something else too, is that when we pop off or when we clap back or whatever, we have to understand that we may have won in the moment.
Right.
But because we're held to such a higher standard, guess what's going to eat us up? It's going to come back and say, now, you know, you showed out.
That's right.
We're going to go back to that sent email, and then we're going to read it. We're going to reread it and say, oof, I got you together in that email. But after a while, it's going to be like, now, you know what? I need to be nicer. Let me not be that way, because it's going to bother us that we got out of character.
Right.
So that's why instead of having those moments where you have to fix something, go ahead and be strategic in it when you do it the first time.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't sit up there and just do something that you're going to have to come back and apologize for,
That's
even though
right.
it feels great in the moment.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. I felt like you're getting everything you need to get in this moment. But because of who I am and because of who I'm employed by,
That's right.
I'm going to have to come back and make it right.
Yeah. And I will say this, because there can be a balance, right? Where you feel empowered and you feel like you advocated for yourself, but you can also say it in a way that still communicates in a respectful way that you don't feel like, okay, maybe I overdid it.
Yeah. You have to have some checkpoints for you to say, okay, I'm going to have this conversation, but if I start to feel myself go left, like, how am I going to pull myself back?
Right.
And if I do happen to lose it in that moment, because we will, and there will never be 100% of the time that we get it right. Will I be mature enough and much of a leader to go back and say, you know what, I didn't handle that the best way.
Right.
Yesterday, you caught me on the wrong day. Today, I'm better. I thought about it. I apologize for my approach. However, my boundaries still stand.
Yeah.
What I wanted to communicate or what I did communicate is X, Y, and Z. And this is how we work together moving forward.
That's right. And I will say this, because I have seen this many times. Because you mentioned this earlier. Sometimes you have to lead in that example. Because oftentimes I have seen leadership and they take no accountability. You are wrong. They don't want to be wrong. So therefore, it is what it is. Right? And though it is unfortunate and it's very frustrating, the reality of it is, though, it tells you more about yourself than you need to worry about other people. Right? Because you may end up being in that leadership position one day. And you're going to show up as a better leader. Sometimes those individuals are in your life to give you an example of what not to be. Right? And God is preparing you for something much bigger than you even know. But it's an opportunity for you to grow in
Yeah.
and to help others as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a perspective also. This is something that really helped ground me in my career, my leadership journey, with understanding that when I'm responding and like matching energy and I'm going back and forth and toe to toe,
Yeah.
that's not my fruit on display.
Right.
That's not his fruit on
Right.
display. It's like now I'm blending in and mixing with the world, and you can't tell the difference between me and this person.
That's right.
Which means that if I'm able to restrain myself a little bit, that's going to show fruit on display. That's going to be patience. That's going to be joy. That's going to be kindness. That's going to be all these things on display. And you're going to know that I'm different. And that's the main thing that we're set to do. We're set to be set apart. We're different. We're salt. We're light, which means we change environments.
That's right.
If we're blending in, then we got to go back and do another lap and figure out, okay, how can I influence this change? I know it may sound easier said than done. This takes time and maturity.
Yes, it does.
It takes you turning down Nuck If You Buck, which is a favorite hymn
And
of
I
mine.
love a Nuck If You Buck.
Yes, but it takes you kind of turning up. Okay, God, what do you want me to be in the earth today?
Right.
Do you want me to be salt and light, or do you want me to mix and merge in with everybody else? And that's not what he wants. So it takes a moment of pause for us.
Yeah.
And it takes a moment to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to influence this. I don't like it because I feel a little punk right now. I feel
That's
like I'm
right.
being a punk.
That's right.
But I promise you, you're not. It is strength on display.
Yeah.
It is fruit on display, saying that you're not going to trigger me. You're not going to get me out my character. I'm going to help influence you for you to be better.
That's right. And y'all, when y'all get these breaks, go on your breaks.
Go. Take your break. Take your PTO.
Yes.
Okay? Please take your time.
Yes. Cause I can't tell you how many times I had to go to the back of the building and I had to have or in the car and I had to have a conversation with the Lord. And I mean, you would have thought I was on the phone if you'd have seen me sitting in the car and I'm talking. No, I am talking to my Father in heaven.
Take your breaks. Take your PTO.
Yes.
Take your holidays off. Take them. And here's what I want to clarify on behalf of the business. Something that I often hear is that these companies don't care about you. These companies don't do whatever. Some companies don't.
Yeah.
Some companies do. But understand that ultimately it's a business.
Yes.
That has to run, which means that, yes, you may have been there for a long time, and if you out and now they got to backfill and get somebody else in your position, it's because the business has to run.
Right.
It's typically not personal. Sometimes there is some personal things that go in there, and that's why it's important to have a good HR person. But for the most part, it's because business has to run. It's not that they've conspired this whole strategy against you. It's because they said, okay, you're no longer to do the job. You're no longer able to do the job. We need it done.
Right.
That's it. Take your breaks.
Yes.
Take your PTO. That stuff is not going to come into consideration when it's time to make a business decision if whether this person only took 2 days or 20 days of PTO.
Yeah.
Take your breaks.
For sure. And with that being said, you know, don't feel bad for not responding. Don't feel bad.
Clarify.
On your break.
We
on your
the
breaks.
HR delegation
Sorry,
need
on
you to
your breaks.
clarify.
When you're taking your PTO, right? When you're taking your PTO.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Please let the people know where y'all at.
Right. Because some of y'all don't know how to step away.
Yes.
And you got to do that.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Because I guarantee you they're doing it. And they're on the beach somewhere. Thoroughly enjoying themselves. And you too can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no position should be burning you out to the point of where you can't step away from lunch.
Right.
I know we think that we can eat lunch and sit at our desk and do the stuff. And it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like, why? And then also, you may feel that you're working in your best way for the company. That could be illuminating the fact that there's some efficiencies in your processes. If it's taking you all day to do your work, if you're having to clock out for lunch but sit at your desk and still try to sneak at work, there's some inefficiencies there that you need to revisit. Okay, but that's another conversation another time.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that because I had a friend, and this will annoy me, and some people have mentioned this, But like the people that don't say anything at work
Mm-hmm.
are the people that are asked questions often, like
Mm-hmm.
opinions and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up doing the higher positions oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you're burning yourself out and you're trying to do this, that, and the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, take a pause.
Mm-hmm.
Just relax.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go higher, you have to be able to like position yourself to not burn yourself out, right? Because
Yeah.
why do all of that to get to the top and you burnt out?
So here's the thing. If you already burnt out at this level,
Right.
and you trying to go further up, there's only more responsibility coming.
Exactly.
There's only, like, you might be placed in a leadership team where now you have to have direct reports and you already hanging on by a thread. So what are we doing? So you have to learn your efficiencies, your skills, your way of working, your time management, your leadership style. If you don't know your leadership style, you need to learn it.
Yeah.
And the way you learn it is by doing projects, taking leadership assessments, all kind of stuff, so that you can know if you're a passive leader, then you need to do something about that at this level
Yeah.
before you get here.
That's good.
So you really need to know your way of working, your tendencies, your patterns before you start dealing with some people, because I don't care where you are in your leadership journey. You're going to get that one that's going to show up like, I came to fight. Like, I came here to disrupt. That's my assignment.
That's
I
right.
came to disrupt. So how you going to deal with me if you pass it?
That's right. Because, honey, they
I've
gonna
seen
show
them.
up. They
I've
gonna
seen
show
them. I've
out.
escorted them out the building. Let's go.
Yikes.
Come on.
Yikes. I wish I could have done that one time. Because some places of work do not have an HR.
Mm.
And I think
Lord bless
most of my positions, if not all of them, no, most of them, I have had one that had HR. Did not have HR. And I've had the owner yell at me.
Mm-mm.
And I had to tell that man, I said, first of all, my parents don't even yell at me like this.
Mm-mm.
You're not about to do this.
Mm-mm.
And so that's when it gets tricky. You
It
know
does
what I
get
mean?
tricky. But here's where I also think that you, again, are empowered in your environment.
Uh-huh.
You ask the right questions in the interview.
Yeah.
You ask the right questions. You research the company. You look
Yeah.
up reviews. Remember, when you're going to interviews, you are interviewing them as well,
Yes.
because you're bringing your gifts, your talents. So they need to put forth a good effort to make sure, hey, we're going to retain you because you're going to become our best and brightest.
Yeah.
So we're not just going to give you anything while you bringing your very best self, you dressing up, showing on time, and we're giving you nothing as a
Right.
company. No, that's when you should move on, swipe left, and continue moving on to the next person.
And you know what, though? As I've gotten older, it took me a long time to learn that. And I'm still in that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because as being younger, it depends on, your family. You may be the first generation to be in corporate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you don't know how to maneuver through that. You
Mm-hmm.
don't see yourself in a position as, wait a second, I'm interviewing you too.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do for me?
That's right.
You're like, I just need a job. And my parents talking about I need benefits. Y'all got benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if it's a good job and they're willing to offer it, like, you take it, right? And so
Yeah.
I think, we're having this conversation, so hopefully this will reach the right person.
Yes.
But you too, as you're mentioning, like, you too are putting yourself in a position of who's going to allow me to thrive in this environment the most.
Yeah, most employers, speaking on behalf of just organizations, sometimes organizations miss it.
Yeah.
And they forget that candidates and employees have options.
Yeah.
So it's like, just because someone has been in the role for a couple of years, it just means that maybe the other role or the right role hasn't come open yet. And as soon as it does, like, they're going to see the gap in experience. So why not just take the effort to take care of your employees now, to make it a better environment for them now, instead of just saying, okay, one day it's going to come and your person's going to leave. And then you're going to be like, I can't believe they were the only person that did this. Well, my first question is, why are they the only person that does this? You mean to tell me you couldn't get this person no help at all? So what were we doing? So those are the type of questions that I ask organizations. Like, I come in, I'm like, how's your people?
Yeah.
That's my first question. We'll talk about your tech in just a little bit. We'll talk about your systems. How's your people?
Yeah.
Because once you fix your tech and your systems, you're not going to have any people to run them. So let's figure out how to take care of your people first.
Yeah.
And then let's figure out, are they paid well? Do you care about their well-being? Do you care
Yeah.
about their families? Do they have enough time off? Are they productive? If they're not productive, where's the inefficiencies? Where's the bottlenecks? These are all the things that organizations have to take into consideration. These are the things that you as a candidate have to ask about. So when you go in, I tell people all the time, remember, don't put all your eggs in this basket and say, I hope they call me. I hope they call me. No, they will call you. They will, because they'll realize that you're talent. And if they don't call you, it's not God's place for you to be there. You got to keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. You can't replace people with all of AI, right? So, and don't treat people as though as they are robots. I can't tell you how many times I have felt like I was in a position where someone wants you to do all these different things, right? But it's like, are you considering my well-being at this moment in time? Because
Yeah.
this is a lot. And for me to really perform at a quality level,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like you are thinking about that.
Yeah. And that's when you go back to those inefficiencies,
Right.
where you produce solutions.
Right.
Hey, I notice it takes me 4 hours to do this. If we shift to this way of working, I can do this in 2 hours.
Yes.
And sometimes organizations will you won't even get the moment to explain that. You just
Right.
have to implement it and do it.
Right. Right. And unfortunately for y'all that have to deal with micromanagers, I think the key part in that is just communication, overly communicating, right?
Or exit.
Or or exit. But as you're working on your exit, if you haven't exited, you know, because I cannot stand it. But that's the reality of it for some people. Whatever they have going on, you know, in the time being, it's like, how do I mitigate this situation, you know?
And a micromanager says more about them than it does about you.
Correct.
So let me go ahead and make this plea to whoever's dealing with a micromanager. It says a lot about them. They are maybe afraid in their role. They are operating from a place of not having trust in people. And for those people that are micromanagers, their job is their identity. It's like they hold on to it. They feel that they are responsible for everything and they need to manage you in that way. It's only going to stifle your innovation, your creativity, your competency, and your confidence. Because after a while, you will begin to feel like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. They don't trust me to do it. So
Yeah.
why am I doing this? And it will begin to, day by day, chip away at who you know you are. And so that's why I say, if you can't influence it or change it, then when it comes to micromanaging, you got to do your exit stage left. You have to.
That's good. Yeah. Because I know exactly what you're talking about. That chipping away when I was like, my personality, you don't
Yeah.
deserve it. Yes, this is what I've done. Yes, this is this. Because at that point, I remember being so afraid to give new ideas.
Yeah.
Because at any given moment in time, you're like,
It's not safe.
it's either wrong or it's wrong, you know?
It's not
So,
safe.
yeah. So, last thing I would like, or no, not last thing actually. What are your favorite terms that you like to use in the work environment? Like you said, have you considered? What are other things that you like to use?
Well, tell me, like, where would I use these terms, or give me a scenario or something, and then I can kind of, because I got a bunch. I crack myself up throughout the day. I'm telling you, I believe I'm hilarious. So tell me, like, where, like, I know I said, as have you consider, and that would be presenting maybe a challenge or a different way of doing something.
Let me think of something. A situation would be, I think people can say you're in a meeting, right?
Let me get into character.
Oh, I've been in this position before.
Okay.
And somebody, first of all, you don't get an agenda before the meeting. So
my
you
God.
don't know what to expect.
My Lord.
So when you're in the meeting, you are put on spot to answer some information that, had you known before, you would have been able to present it in the meeting. So how would you approach that situation of communicating whatever they are requesting of you at that moment in time on the spot?
Yeah, two ways. One, I would make sure that I am as up to speed on whatever my responsibility is as
Correct.
possible, enough to speak to. If I'm not able to give any update, then I would lean in and say, based upon my last update is still the same. And I would go down and run down all of the updates that I could give. I would say moving forward, I would have to circle back and, get something in place to where I would give it to them and say, hey, at this time I'll be able to present an additional update, but we're moving forward. I would make sure my terms are saying that we are progressing, or we're progressing in the project, or whatever it is, so that it doesn't look like I'm stalled or that I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, when it comes to the person who set this meeting up, we're going to have a different conversation.
Okay.
We're going to have a per my last email conversation.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have a meeting, and I'm going to go to that person and say, hey, do you have a moment to where we can discuss something? I want to discuss something that felt off to me. And then that person may say, sure, what do you want to talk about? Well, I noticed going into this meeting, you really didn't have an agenda or a plan. So it really wasn't clear on what the focus was of that meeting. However, I realized that I had a speaking part that I was unaware of. Moving forward, I would greatly appreciate partnership in giving me a heads up on what's needed so that I can best prepare and that I can support you in your endeavors in this meeting. So change up your words however you want to. But what I did was I politely called that person out to say you were not prepared.
That's right.
And you also put me on the spot to think that I wasn't prepared, but I stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
That part.
But moving forward, let this be the last.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was the per my last email. Let this be the last moving forward.
And I've definitely been in that position before. And I've had to do that. Because I'm like, again, I'm on eggshells. I feel like I'm on eggshells in this
Right.
work environment already. And it feels like at any given moment in time,
Yes.
you're looking for something
Yeah.
for me to mess up on. And
Yeah.
I want to be prepared at all times.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always say know your work.
That part.
Know your role. Don't rely on anyone else to know more about your area or your scope than you do.
Yeah.
You should know your role. I'm not saying be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. And if you don't know, the most powerful thing you can say is, let me get back to you on that. Can I take that and or I'll do the legwork on that and I'll get back to you. Don't fumble through something and make up something, because now you look crazy for real.
Right.
You look like you don't know what you're talking about. Just say, hey, let me get back to you. But know your stuff.
Yeah.
And then have a follow-up conversation with the person that put you on the spot and let them know, let that be the last.
Yeah.
Let that be the last. Because next time in the meeting, you see how I handled it very diplomatically in the meeting? Next time we'll say, oh, I was unaware that I was going to be speaking to this today. And so, I was unaware that you were going to have me do this today. So now I'm going to call you out in front of everyone. But let's try to handle it the good way.
Right.
The first time. The first time.
And is there an alternative to per my last email?
There is.
Okay.
There is. Per my last email is you wrong already. You lead it in. You know you hot. You spicy. It's wrong. Okay. Per my last email, what you could do is change your language.
Yeah.
So for example, you can say pinning this to the top, and it's a little softer, but it's saying pinning this to the top, or reprioritizing this, or shifting this for your awareness again, where I forwarded. So it's corporate
that.
jargon that drives me nuts, but corporate jargon to where it just softens the blow.
Yeah.
For example, I know some people don't enjoy the fluff and they're like, just get straight to the point.
Right.
But my emails always start with, I hope you are well. The reason why I hope you are well is because after you read, I hope you are well, I'm getting ready to snatch you up down here. But I hope you are well because I don't know what kind of day you've had.
Right.
So I'm not trying to add to your day. I'm just trying to let you know that something needs to be done at this level. But I hope you are well because I hope that you can hear the intent of my words through this email.
Right.
So, and then now if we go into a back and forth, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call you, or either I'm going to schedule a meeting where you got to look at me and tell me where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
So you got to know when to stop the email. You got to know when to pick up the phone. You got to know when to schedule a meeting. And you got to just know when to ask somebody, are you okay? I'm noticing some tension. You all right? Is there something you need? Is there something I'm not giving you? So per my last email, I'm ready. When I see per my last email, I'm ready now. I wasn't ready before I got it, but now I'm ready. So now we about to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what would you say to the people who are dealing with work bullies, microaggressions?
Mm,
How should they, moving forward, say that they do want to go to HR about this?
yeah.
What are the steps that they should take
Ooh.
before they approach their rep in HR?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here in front, Jasmine, like going to HR is safe in every environment.
Right?
I'm not going to front like going to leadership is safe in every environment. Sometimes you just can't because the environment is indeed a toxic environment.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to understand the difference between hostile and toxic. So, if I can for a minute.
Yes.
So, hostile, when you look at it from a standpoint, it's are your rights being violated? I'm talking Title VII rights, meaning your race, your sex, your orientation, your religion, that type of stuff. Are those things being infringed upon? When we talk about a toxic environment, it just means it's an environment that doesn't create cohesion and productivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an environment where you can thrive in. So there is a difference. When you go to HR, they're listening for those things. The right HR is listening for those things. If someone were dealing with a toxic environment, workplace bullying, my first thing would be to say is to document.
Mm-hmm.
Document what you're going through so that when you do get the courage to report it, you're not going on emotions. Because what's going to happen is it's going to bring up something for you. You're going to forget key events, key dates, key things that you need to report. Document. I hate to say it, but documentation, sometimes if it's not documented, it didn't happen. And you got to prove that it happened. So, documentation. I would say if you have a relationship with your leader, go with your leader and say, this is what I'm experiencing. If it is your leader, you might have to find another ally, somebody else that you can talk to. If there's a person of influence that you can speak to, you can do that. When you go to HR, it does shift the narrative. It does shift it because now it's like I'm opening a formal complaint about this person. So when you do that, and the way I operate in HR is I tell someone, you can tell me as much as you want to tell me, and I'll let you know when you're crossing over to the point to where I have to take action. So go ahead and tell me, and we can work it out here. But when you get here, I have to let you know that I have to do something about it. This way, you get to be empowered in how we handle this. But hopefully and prayerfully, they have a strong HR person that they can talk to that can guide them and say, hey, go back, talk to your leader. I will help you with that conversation. And if not, I will take it and I will make sure that it gets handled appropriately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that goes back to know who you're working for,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Don't settle, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I've done it plenty of times,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yeah.
But
I
did
mean, a
I
paycheck is a
a
paycheck
paycheck is a
sometimes, and you need
paycheck.
it, but understand what comes with just that paycheck.
That's right. That's totally right. Because
Mm-hmm.
the people who are just trying to hold on by a string in their business,
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, you too will be holding on by a string as
Yeah.
well. And it
Yeah.
shows and you can feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, do you have any last words for the people of anything?
Yeah. One, just again, thank you so much. I
Yeah.
love just this moment, and thank you just again for creating space. I appreciate this. And just for the people, like, if I could sum it up and say that you are empowered to influence and change your environment. So you don't have to settle. Success doesn't have to come with struggle. You are absolutely empowered to create the life that you want. You don't have to burn out to be successful, and you don't have to settle to be, in a place of winning with your family. You can have both. If you
Mm-hmm.
understand that work life harmony should be the goal of what you're doing, to where you bring things into alignment so that they work together and they're not fighting against each other, then you'll definitely feel like you're thriving in your career. So,
Yes. And in these days, let me tell you something. Do what you have to do for you
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and your family.
mm-hmm.
Take care of you.
Yes.
Take care of the people that genuinely love you
Yeah.
and are looking out for you in the best way.
Yeah.
And listen to the signs, pay attention, build your skill set as
Mm-hmm,
much as possible, as you mentioned.
mm-hmm.
And build a plan, grow a plan if you need to. If you're like, I want to get out of here, I want to have a career shift, do it.
Yep, do it.
You only get one life.
Listen, interview for fun.
Yeah.
Interview for fun. Practice interviewing. Don't wait until you get into I need to get out of this job and now I want to interview, and you haven't interviewed in years.
Yeah.
And you think you're going to go and land that position. No, you need practice. So practice it.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing some interview workshops too, so I'll keep you in mind.
Please do.
I will.
And while we're here, how can the people connect with you?
Yes. So I am on, let's check the handles. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and also my website. My website is going to be the best place where they can keep up with me. So www.growleadersconsulting.com. That'll be where you can find me and connect.
Okay. And you heard it here. Best also connect with Black and Healthy.
Yes.
Connect with us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. And also make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. And check out the Black and Healthy website, again, at www.blackandhealthy.com. We hope that this poured into you.
Yes.
We hope that this empowered you to take one more step into that workplace and maybe show up a little bit different. That is going to help you to really grow as a person while is your time there for you to grow the ladder if that is what you desire for yourself. But otherwise, do what's best for you. We really do hope this conversation was helpful for you. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yay!
And we will see you again.
See you next time.
Bye, y'all.